Welcome back now for the news in detail. We start from Pakistan, where a Taliban delegation led by Mullah Baradar has met Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi in Islamabad. US envoy Zalmay Khalilzad is also in Islamabad to discuss ways of resuming the Afghan peace process after Washington called it off last month. The 12-member delegation reached the Foreign Office to discuss ways to restart talks to end the ongoing war in Afghanistan. Foreign Affairs Secretary Suhail Mahmood was also present in the meeting. In an earlier statement, Islamabad said the Taliban visit will provide the means to resume the paused process in Afghanistan. Now, further curbing movement of Kashmiris, Indian forces have decided to deploy 50 surveillance drones in the occupied valley. Now, government officials say the drones will be used to monitor and prevent curfew violations in Indian occupied Kashmir. A senior police official in Valley said the Union Home Ministry has already approved the procurement of the UAVs. It said the drones will be commissioned to the Indian occupying forces in near future. The occupied valley has been turned into a prison by the New Delhi, with over 8 million Kashmiris held hostage in their homes. Humanitarian crisis in the valley is worsening, with food and medicine shortages worsening over 2-month lockdown. A U.S. congressional subcommittee will hold a hearing on human rights in South Asia with a focus on occupied Kashmir. Congressman Brad Sherman, the chairman of the House Subcommittee on Asia, will chair the hearing on October 22nd. In a statement, the committee said the hearing will focus on arrests of politicians and lockdown in Indian occupied Kashmir. It will also review the humanitarian situation in Kashmir and probe whether Kashmiris have adequate supplies of basic necessities. Congressman Sherman said American Kashmiris fear for the safety of their loved ones in the occupied valley. New Delhi's crushing curfew and communications blackout in occupied Kashmir has now entered its 60th consecutive day. Moving on, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan will visit China on a 2-day trip on October 7th. Among other issues, Khan will discuss progress on China-Pakistan economic corridor. In a cabinet meeting, Khan reiterated that timely completion of CPEC projects is the government's top priority. The Prime Minister said he will visit China and meet its leadership to further strengthen bilateral friendship. Earlier, Khan telephoned his Bangladeshi counterpart Sheikh Hasina to inquire about her health and convey his best wishes. Indian Prime Minister Modi's claim of declaring the country free of open defecation has recently come under fire. Experts express skepticism about the claim, saying millions still lack access to toilets, and that because of inefficiency, new facilities are not being used. More in this report.
Modi's claim that India is open defecation free has been questioned by experts who cite data from rural as well as urban areas. Experts from the Research Institute for Compassionate Economics doubt the shortfall has been made up in recent months. Many of the toilets that have been constructed are often locked, used for storage or some other purpose.
We felt very good that a toilet was being built. There are toilets being built, sure, but they are all shut. None of them are functional.
According to experts at RICE, in December 2018, about half of people in the states of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Rajasthan still defecated in the open. These 4 states are home to more than 450 million people. But old practices constrain mobility, especially for women.
We do feel ashamed when we go to the jungle, but we are helpless in such a situation. We can't stop ourselves. There are males looking at us. Yes, we do feel ashamed. Now, it's a public area. Everyone and anyone who takes that route will look. We are not the only people who use the jungle. But if we try to save our dignity, then where will we go?
Despite development and India's rapid modernity, this remains a monstrous task. Cultural barriers, ingrained habits, or a lack of knowledge about sanitation also create barriers to more widespread usage.
Well, that certainly is a problem now. Iran has confirmed it will further reduce JCPOA commitments and boost scientific and strategic nuclear activities. In a statement, Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said the step is in accordance with the 2015 Nuclear Pact. Now, the organization said it will continue extensive scientific and strategic activities until the desired results is achieved. It said the reduction of commitments is a legal issue and not a violation of the nuclear deal. The body also said Tehran has repeatedly said if other parties abide by their commitments, Iran will also return to the pact. Now, in Iraq, 7 people, 1 policeman have been killed in clashes between protesters and police in Baghdad. Over 100 others have been injured. The protesters took to the streets against unemployment, corruption and poor government services. The deaths bring the toll to 5 as police have used live fire and tear gas against protesters in the last 2 days. The demonstrators descended on the capital demanding changes to address a lack of public services, water shortages and unemployment. The protests have now spread across the country. Thousands also gathered in the oil-rich city of Basra and Samawa. The United States will impose tariffs on $7.5 billion worth of imports from the European Union. Now, Treasury Department says it will impose the tariffs on European Union from 18th of October. Washington released a list of goods to be hit by the new tariffs after a landmark WTO decision over EU's illegal Airbus subsidies. It includes 10% levies on jetliners and 25% duties on other products, including beverages and agri-products. Earlier, the U.S. won a 15-year legal battle at the WTO against the EU over billions of dollars of illegal subsidies given to Airbus. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mohammad Faisal, spokesperson of the Foreign Office of Pakistan, is conducting a press conference. We'll take you live. And we'll get back to that. Now we'll move on with the news stories. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump has accused the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff of treason. In a tweet, Trump said Schiff is inventing the words of the U.S. President during the impeachment inquiry. He said Democrats should focus on building the country instead of wasting time on impeachment. Trump said they have been trying to impeach him since his election. Meanwhile, Adam Schiff said the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is trying to interfere with witnesses in the inquiry. Moving on, Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar has rejected the latest Brexit proposal submitted by the United Kingdom government. Varadkar said the plans do not meet agreed backstop objectives. Earlier, Prime Minister Johnson submitted a new proposal to the European Union to replace the backstop in the withdrawal agreement. In a telephone conversation with his UK counterpart, Varadkar said he will discuss the proposals with the European Union. The Irish Premier said he wants to see a deal agreed and ratified. He said he will continue working closely with the Irish Republic's EU partners. Besides speaking to EU heads of government, Varadkar will also meet the Swedish and Danish premiers. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, police have asked the government to impose curfew following a night of chaos and violence in the city. Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets of Hong Kong to denounce the police shooting a teenager. Demonstrators uprooted street tarmacs, threw petrol bombs at police, set businesses and metro stations ablaze. Junior Police Officers Association chairman said curfew will maintain public order. Protesters are also furious as they said Beijing is interfering in their city's affairs despite a promise of autonomy in 1997. China dismisses accusations and has accused foreign governments for the fiasco in the city. Now, ladies and gentlemen, spokesperson of Pakistan Foreign Office, Dr. Mohammad Faisal, is conducting a media briefing. We'll take you live.
President of United Nations General Assembly. Apart from this, the Foreign Minister also addressed the United Nations Security Council's ministerial debate, led the Pakistan delegation to ministerial meeting of the OIC contact group on Jammu and Kashmir, and actively engaged with national and international media. The Foreign Minister successfully sensitized.
Foreign Office spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal is holding a press conference. Earlier, the high-level delegation was headed by Taliban's co-founder Mullah Baradar. The 12-member delegation earlier met Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. The United States and Taliban were on the brink of a deal that would have seen Washington begin withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. We'll keep you updated on this. It's time for a short break. We'll return back with the news. Moving on with the news story, 6 soldiers have been killed in twin roadside explosions outside Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. We'll keep you updated on this story, but right now we have to go to Islamabad. The Foreign Minister spokesperson is addressing the news briefing.
मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकता जी. अगला सवाल. जनाब यारी राशिदा नया सवाल करेंगी.
The Taliban delegation headed by Mullah Abdul Ghani is in Islamabad for the peace talks. The high-level delegation is being headed by the Taliban co-founder Mullah Baradar. The 12-member delegation earlier met Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Now, the United States and Taliban were on the brink of a deal that would have seen Washington begin withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. But Trump abruptly declared the talks dead last month, citing a Taliban attack that killed a U.S. soldier. Now, the Taliban threatened more violence to facilitate a role in the peace process. Shah Mahmood Qureshi stressed that revival of the peace process is important to pave the way towards durable peace and stability in Afghanistan. The foreign minister also said war is no solution to any problem. Dialogue is the only way forward for peace in Afghanistan. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, Foreign Minister of Pakistan, also said Pakistan has sincerely played the role of a facilitator in the Afghan peace process. He said a peaceful Afghanistan is imperative for regional peace and stability. The foreign minister also said instability in Afghanistan is adversely affecting both Pakistan and Afghanistan. He said the world is now also endorsing Pakistan's stance on Afghanistan. Shah Mahmood Qureshi pointed out that Pakistan
जो कैंपेन है that is slander की कैंपेन है. He is a distinguished member of Foreign Service of Pakistan और वो सफीर रहे हैं हमारे जिनीवा में भी और न्यूयॉर्क में भी. उनकी बड़ी accomplishments हैं, international recognition.
Well, these were the live images coming from Islamabad, where Foreign Office spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal was briefing the media about the recent meeting held between the delegation of Taliban and the meeting with the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Now we'll move on with the news stories. 6 soldiers have been killed in twin roadside explosions outside Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Several others were also wounded in the attacks. Police said the blast targeted a military convoy. The convoy was hit near Elasha Biyaha, 15 kilometers southwest of Mogadishu. Police officials said the attacks were double landmine blasts. No group has claimed responsibility yet. Meanwhile, Germany has called on Libya to close its immigrant detention centers, saying they are unsafe. German envoy Oliver Otzka said the July airstrike on the Tajura center is sufficient evidence to shut the camps. Otzka said such facilities are a vulnerable target with a potential heavy death toll. In the meantime, an EU delegation is pressing Libyan authorities to protect illegal immigrants who are detained. The delegation said the release of migrants from these centers should be the first step towards improving their lives. Migrant shelters in Libya are crowded with thousands of people who have been rescued at sea or arrested by Libyan security forces. Now, in the business stories, the United States has won World Trade Organization's approval to impose tariffs on $7.5 billion worth of European goods. The decision over illegal Airbus subsidies threatens to trigger a trade war as the global economy falters. The WTO found European plane maker Airbus and its US rival Boeing received billions of dollars in illegal subsidies. The European Union is expected to win approval next year for its own tariffs over illegal aid to Boeing. Now, the US and European aerospace industries have been engaged in a 15-year battle over subsidies. Samsung Electronics has ended mobile telephone production in China because of intensifying competition from domestic rivals. The South Korean tech giant says it took the difficult decision in a bid to boost efficiency. However, it will continue sales in China. The shutdown of Samsung's last Chinese phone factory allows a cut in production at the plant in Huizhou City. Other manufacturers are also considering moving production from China because of rising labor costs. Sony is also likely to close its Beijing smartphone plant, but Apple still makes major products in China. Now, Asian stocks have slumped, anticipating a new trade war between the United States and the European Union. Markets dipped to a one-month low after Washington announced over $7.5 billion in tariffs on EU goods. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index has slipped to 0.5%. Hong Kong retail sales in August plunged to its lowest on record. Japan's Nikkei 225 plunged over 2% over fall in shares of fast retailing, SoftBank Group and Fanuc. Australia's ASX 200 has also lost over 2% as most sectors saw declines. Now, let's have a look at the weather update. Well, with the weather update, we come to the end of this bulletin. For more news and updates, keep watching Indus News.